A man wearing a fedora and a white shirt without a tie got out and urinated in front of the headlights. I thought I could hear laughter inside the car. While he relieved himself, he removed his fedora and combed his hair. It was wavy and thick and brown and shiny as polished walnut. His trousers were notched tightly into his ribs, and his cheeks looked like they had been rubbed with soot. These were not uncommon characteristics in the men who drifted here and yon through the American West during the first administration of President Roosevelt. "Some people must have wandered off the highway onto our road," I said. "The driver has taken a leak in front of his headlights. His passengers seem to be enjoying themselves." Grandfather was sitting at the kitchen table, an encyclopedia open in front of him, his reading glasses on his nose. He deliberately stood in front of his headlights to make water, so others could watch. "I can't speak with authority about his thought process since I'm not inside the man's head," I replied. I picked up the German binoculars my uncle had brought back from the trenches and focused them on the car. "There's a woman in the front seat. The second man and another woman are in back. They're passing a bottle around." "Are they wets?" I removed the binoculars from my eyes. "If wets drive four-door cars." My first wife had a sense of humor like yours. The only time I ever saw her laugh was when she realized I developed shingles. I focused the binoculars back on the driver. I thought I had seen his face before. I heard Grandfather get up heavily from his chair. He was over 6.5 feet tall, and his ankles were swollen from hypertension and caused him to sway back and forth as though he were on board a ship. Sometimes he used a walking cane, sometimes not. One day he seemed to teeter on the edge of eternity. The next day he was ready to resume his old habits down at the saloon. He had gin roses in his cheeks and skin like a baby's, and narrow eyes that were the palest blue I had ever seen. Sometimes his eyes did not go with his face or his voice. The intense light in them could make other men glance away. "Let's take a walk, Satchel Ass," he said. I wish he wouldn't call me that name. "You've got a butt on you like a washtub." "There's a bullet hole in the rear window of the car," I said, looking through the binoculars again. "My butt doesn't resemble a washtub. I don't like you talking to me like that, Grandfather." "Wide butts and big hips run in the Holland family. That's just something to keep in mind as you get older. It's a family trait, not an insult. Would you marry a woman who looks like a sack of Irish potatoes?" He pulled open a kitchen drawer and removed a holstered revolver that was wrapped with the belt, the loops stuffed with brass shells. The revolver was the dull color of an old buffalo nickel. It had been converted long ago for cartridges, but the black powder tamping rod was still in place, fitted with a working hinge under the barrel. The top of the holster had been worn smooth and yellow along the edges of the leather. 6 tiny notches had been filed along the base of the revolver's grips. Grandfather hung the belt from his shoulder and put on his Stetson. The brim was wilted, the crown sweat-stained a dark gray above the brim. He went out the screen door into the waning twilight. The windmill was ginning furiously, the stanchions trembling with energy, a thread of water coming from the spout, the tank crusted with dirt and dead insects and animal hair along the rims. "The moon looks like it was dipped in a teacup. I can't believe how we used to take the rain for granted," he said. "I think this land must be cursed." The air smelled of ash and dust and creosote and horse and cow manure that feathered in your hand if you picked it up. Dry lightning leaped through the heavens and died like somebody removing an oil lamp from the window of a darkened house. I thought I felt thunder course through the ground under my shoes. "Feel that?" I said, hoping to change Grandfather's mood and my own. "Don't get your hopes up. That's the Katy blowing down the line," he replied. "I'm sorry I made fun of your butt, Satch. I won't do it no more. Walk behind me till we know who's in that car." As we approached the tree line, the driver of the car walked out of the headlights and stood silhouetted against the glare, then got back in his car and started the engine and clanked the transmission into gear. The trees were so dry they made a sound like paper rustling when the wind blew through the canopy. "Hold up there," Grandfather said to the man. I thought the driver would simply motor away, but he didn't. He stuck his elbow out the window and stared straight into our